Here we have the Apple Airpods 4. I've had the original AirPods for many years, 4 or 5 years now, and it was time for me to upgrade. They made enough changes here with the new ones that I did want to go ahead and make that switch and upgrade here to the new AirPods. So this does have the M2 chip in it, which is going to improve the connection speed, audio quality, and then sound improvements as well. Let's first start here by kind of looking at the case and the design. So they did update the design completely here. Well, I guess not completely. It's not like a brand new looking earbud, but they made some differences here. They made some big changes. So first of all, they shortened the stem. So look here how long that stem is. And then on the new one, the stem is about half the length there. So it's a big difference in the stem length. And I'm kind of still undecided on whether or not that's good for me or not, but it does make it a lighter earbud. So it is lighter. Now, another big difference here is the actual shape of it. So if we can look here and get really close in on it to look at the different shape on it. So here on the new one, it's a more oval shape, and then the old one here is more rounded. So it's a larger surface area. And apparently they did a big study and they did some fancy mapping of ears, and they updated the design to be more universal to fit more ears. I think you kind of fit in one or two categories. Either they fit or they don't when it comes to the AirPods. Now, I haven't had any issues with them fitting worse or better or anything like that. I mean, the original AirPods worked for me, but I don't have any issue with them falling out. Now, over time, you know, there are certain cases where sometimes I'll feel them start to slip, but rarely do they ever fall out of my ears. So for me, the AirPods have always fit, and these new ones still fit really good, but they do have a larger, I guess, surface area, I would say. So if in the past the AirPods did not work for you, that's one of the big updates that they made. So hopefully they work for more people now and they can get a little bit better fit. Now, I did also notice that on the front here, the speaker area where the sound comes out is also larger. So that's a pretty cool update. And then it still has some of the other features here with the different pads and spots here, the connections on the bottom there to charge as well. Now, one thing I've kind of noticed here is that on the bottom here, it looks to have a speaker on the outside right here, right there at the bottom. And I think that's actually a good improvement because now it's on the outside of the speaker, where with the original AirPods, when I would be on the phone sometimes, the little hairs in my beard would actually rub up against that and you could hear the rustling, and you would hear it in phone calls and things like that, and it was a little bit distracting. So I would almost have to, when I was taking phone calls, tilt the earbud out so that the stem was not rubbing up against my beard. Just one of those little details that I noticed that I kind of had to deal with. Now the case is shorter and smaller, but it's a little bit wider. So about the same kind of surface area if I had to guess, but it's still very slim. Ooh, almost threw it on the ground there. Still very slim, nice small profile, and I really like that about the AirPods, especially compared to some other headphones. I like how slim and sleek the cases are. Of course, they're smaller and easier to lose, but they're also smaller and easier to store, which is one thing that I really like, and I'm always keeping track of these. I haven't lost them, and I'm really good about keeping my electronics safe, but still very small case, really nice and slim. When you open it here, it will go ahead and turn on here, and then if you remember here on the back of your original AirPods, there's this little button here, and that's what you would have to press if you weren't finding it. You know, put it in discovery mode so that you could find it and connect it to your device. Now here what you're going to do is you're going to open it up and you're going to give it a double tap here, and then that will put it in discovery mode so that you can find it with your device if you're having an issue. Now, I didn't have any issue when I opened it up. It was recognized by my phone and I got it connected just like that. So I do have an iPhone, but you can connect this to other devices. And so if you're having an issue with it, you can do that. And then you can completely reset the headphones with that same tap here on the front. It's going to be 6 taps, and then that will reset the earbuds if you want to get them connected if you're having an issue and you need to do a hard reset to just reboot and start over. They have two different versions. So they have these ones, which are the just regular version, and then they have the active noise cancellation version, which I elected not to get, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my thought process behind that. So as you can see here, these earbuds just have the plastic tip, right? So it doesn't have that silicone ring, which kind of fits in there and creates a tighter seal. So my thought process was, well, since it's a hard tip anyways, a lot of that ambient sound is going to get in. And so unless active noise cancellation is a really big issue or like a must-have for me, I elected not to get it to save myself a little bit of money. And then I think the effects of it won't be as much, and it probably won't be as good as some other earbuds with a silicone tip because some of that ambient sound is going to get in. Now, I haven't tested or compared, so I don't really have any scientific research or any kind of personal information to put behind that, but that was just my thought process. It's not really a big deal for me anyways, so I elected to save some money. However, if that is a big deal to you, you might consider getting the ones with the ANC. However, that was my thought behind it, is that there's probably going to be some ambient sound that's going to come in anyways, so it might not be as good as some other earbuds with a silicone tip, but again, I don't have any research or any other kind of testing to back that statement up. That's just my thought behind it. Now, battery life is really good. So I've had these for about a week now, and I have charged them about every other day. So I get about a full day, 6 hours worth without recharging. So 6 hours per charge on per earbud, and then up to 30 hours total with the case. So about every other day I'm charging them. Now, I rarely listen 6 hours in a row, so I haven't had an issue where they've died completely, except for the first day when I first got them. I got them out of the box, listened to them until they died, and then charged them completely. But other than that, they haven't died on me. Listening, I listen up to probably 4 hours in a row, then I'll charge them for like an hour, and then I'll listen some more. But I do listen to a lot of audio and stuff throughout the day. I pretty much have my earbuds in all the time, and I haven't noticed any different feel with these. So still very comfortable, still very light, almost absolutely no ear fatigue like I've had with some other earbuds. I can wear these all day, and sometimes I'll even forget that I have them in. Sometimes I'll think that I have them in when I don't. So just listening and having earbuds in all the time, hopefully I'm not alone there. Sometimes you're like, oh, do I have my earbud in? And you go and reach and it's actually not there. So still very light, very comfortable. So I'm very happy with these overall, and I'm impressed with them. Quality, build, the new updates there, I really do like them, and they feel really nice. Another thing is that the sound quality is actually really improved. I've been going back and listening to some music and kind of testing these out, and I've noticed that some of the songs that I've been listening to actually have more bass. So these do have a lot better range of sound, in my opinion. So it's just got a fuller sound. So whether I'm listening to spoken word, podcasts, audiobooks, or music, there's just a wider range of sound, and it sounds more full and complete, if that makes sense. And then the bass in there is actually really good. It's a big upgrade, so I will say that with the new AirPods 4 compared to the old AirPods, lots more bass, so a big upgrade there, so I'm really impressed with that. But again, I don't listen to a lot of music. I listen to a little bit, mostly on the weekends, kind of when I'm doing chores around the house. But throughout the week, I'm usually listening to podcasts and spoken word, and I really do like these earpods or AirPods for that. And then finally, kind of the audio quality when making phone calls and things like that. Really good sound quality. Haven't had any issues with anybody saying that the audio is hard to hear, they can't hear me or understand me or anything like that. Another new update here is kind of the pad, or instead of using a tap to control the actions, it's actually a pinch motion here. So let's get that. So if you can see here, that little flat area on the side of the earbud. So that's going to be your pinch area. So if you do one pinch, that's either going to play or pause whatever you're listening to. It'll answer a phone call. But one thing of note is that one pinch when you are on a phone call will actually just mute you. If you want to hang up, you have to double pinch. So I did that a few times talking to people, used to the one tap to either answer or hang up, but it's 2 pinches to actually hang up. 1 pinch will mute. 2 pinches will move forward, and 3 pinches will move backwards. And then again, 1 pinch will play or pause. So I do like that actually. And it's a small thing, but I did notice over time that I would actually pull out my phone to either answer or hang up a call because I didn't like tapping on the earbud because it just kind of forces it in the ear. And of course, it's just a little, it's not a lot, but you know, just a little tap there. Sometimes it becomes uncomfortable and it would actually hurt a little bit when I would tap on it. So I did like that update that it's actually a pinch now, so I'm not jamming the earbud in my ear. Probably shouldn't tap so hard, but you know, when you're getting a phone call or something, you just kind of tap out of reflex a little bit faster and you hit it a little harder than you might think. So little update there on the pinch instead of the tap. And then of course I still do have the widget here on my phone. So I'll show you here if I open up the earbuds here, they will get them close here. It should pop up here. That's how I keep track of the battery there. Still have that connectivity and that little widget there that shows. Finally here, charging it is a Type-C, so they have upgraded that to Type-C charger, which I think a lot of electronics are going. I've still got the iPhone here. I think it's the iPhone X. I don't do tons of updates with the phones here and keep up with the greatest and latest. And this one is still using a Lightning, but the earbuds here are using the Type-C. Unfortunately, when you buy them, it doesn't come with a charging block. It doesn't come with a cord, so they're expecting you to either have it or purchase one separately. But Type-C is the charging method for this. Now it can charge on kind of one of those pads, one of the wireless ones. However, there's no microphone in this one. So, or not microphone, there's no magnet in this one. So it's not going to stick to it. So if you have one of those that's at an angle, it might slide off of there. So just keep that in mind that it does charge wirelessly, but it needs to be on a flat surface and it doesn't have that magnet that's going to snap to connect. Overall, I'm really happy with all of the updates, the quality, the size, the shape, really happy as a previous AirPods user, so still really good, and I actually like these a lot more than the old ones, especially the sound quality and everything like that. Hopefully that was helpful.